I can tell they're gunning for that. I don't think they should be the manager, but I don't want it either. I don't want to do that either. I don't want to be. I don't think I want that, especially not in that kind of capacity or whatever. Because I don't want to be the person running back and forth. I like doing some of the work. I can manage projects, but I don't know if I want to manage a whole department like that. I mean, unless is specifically like a graphics department, but not like a marketing department. I don't think I would want to do that.
Welcome back to the IC Pixels podcast. This is David.
This is Anthony.
Thanks for tuning in again. You'll be surprised to note that we're actually on schedule this time. This is actually our 51st episode. So
yeah, and we did nothing to commemorate our 50th episode, just post on time.
Yeah. So maybe for our 52nd episode, we'll maybe go have an episode where we look back at some of our favorite episodes or something that we've done over the past 2 years now. Wow.
Yeah.
Or almost 2 years.
Kind of crazy.
My dedication is crazy. So anyway, a lot of things have happened since our last episode. So one thing, we would be remiss in not saying like rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle and all those affected by his passing. When he passed, I did, it surprised me and I felt bad and all that stuff because that's what you're supposed to do. But it did make me kind of regret not supporting him, but like buying his merchandise and stuff like that while he was alive. Not that that's like the only thing you should do, but I know there's a lot of times, me personally, a lot of times there's artists and stuff like that I like. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go to their websites, I'll check out their merchandise, and then I'll forget to buy it.
Yeah.
Until something reminds me, because I was gonna buy, like, when I watched the Killer Mike show, I was like, I should check out some of his merch, and he had a couple shirts I liked, so I was gonna get some. I still haven't bought any of like the marathon stuff from Nipsey, and I kind of feel bad about it. Going back to our episode we did about supporting black businesses and stuff like that. Yeah. I wear polo and like on a weekly basis. I wear a lot of different brands.
Ralph. Oh.
Well, yeah, I realized recently I wear a lot of polo, but yeah, I should probably be supporting some of these other brands that I actually like. I mean, I like polo and stuff, but there are other brands out there that make things that I like. So yeah, that's one thing that his passing reminded me of. Like, I need to be more supportive of people that I like their music and stuff like that, but I also like some of the other things they do too, so I should support it.
Yeah. Well, he's got bottled water, a pack of 8 you can get on his website. So
word. How much is shipping?
I don't know. There's no excuse. You can get the water, you can get a keychain, a mug, a pen. You can get a pen.
Yeah, I saw that.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna pick up a shirt. I mean, I would say, I don't know what it's. I mean, aside from just supporting, and all that. I mean, I listened to him, but what I wasn't like. I wouldn't say I was a super fan or whatever, but I was like kind of aware that was going on. But I mean, definitely after the fact, learning about everything he was into and then all that he stood for and everything, I find it like, just seeing what other people say about him is motivating as far as, being consistent, like, the whole, that today, just recently I was thinking about like the whole marathon. That's really, that's great business advice, if you want to really tie it back into what our podcast is actually about. That's great business advice, life and business, just being consistent, keeping it going, and then just pushing that forward. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna have to pick up a shirt, but
well, that's what I was gonna say. One other thing I was gonna say about that, he made me think, thinking back about the brand he had and his personal brand and all that type of stuff. Like I never went to like I don't even know what his website would be other than the marathon site. He might have one, but I know I've met a lot of people in business doing like web design, graphic design, and marketing, all the type of stuff, where they'll have an amazing looking brand, but you meet them in person and they're not that great of a person, or their brand comes off as consistent and trustworthy and all that type of stuff, but you meet them in person, they're nothing like that. So
Yeah.
what I would say is, based on what you hear people saying about Nipsey and all that stuff in his life, like his brand matched with him.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think
definitely.
that's important to, as a person, as a business owner, as a designer or whatever. It's important that, if your website, your branding, your business card, all that, your Instagram feed, all that stuff puts out a certain image about you, and that's great, that's fine, but you want to try and live up or come correct. Like, don't just work on your Instagram profile, your Facebook profile. Work on your personal profile. What are you like? Because that's
Yeah.
what'll get you customers. Like, because if you look, honestly, if you were to spend a lot of time looking at like our social media profiles or my personal social media profiles, not that great. Honestly,
No.
just keep it a thou with you is not that great. But I think that my personal interaction with people and my personal reputation with people has gotten me to the point where I don't have to have a great Instagram profile. Of course, I would like to have a better one. I would like to do better in that area. But coming through and delivering on
Yeah.
time and doing what I say I'm going to do is actually more valuable than having an Instagram profile that looks good, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and that's just, that's definitely something that I took away from it, is like that kind of being genuine in who you are, and, making sure whatever you're doing is, I guess you could say, breathing life into other people and stuff like that. That's something the realization I was having today, actually. It's like, I don't feel like I've fully lived in my purpose because I don't embrace all of the things that I could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm not doing a lot, but you jump from one thing to another. You sprint from one project to the next, not being consistent when you should really be consistent on one thing, like a marathon, to actually see it to fruition or whatever.
Yep.
Instead of just sprinting from one thing that may make you money to the next.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to unpack, but I don't know. But I don't know. Just a lot to think about, and I guess it's good to see somebody that lived in their purpose, and everybody can aspire to have that said about you. So,
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people wouldn't go this far without some kind of stupid scandal or something coming out after they pass or whatever. So it says a lot
Yeah.
that it hasn't. If it does, okay, I'm still not going to change my opinion.
Yeah.
But it says something about you, and I think that's important. That's worth
Yeah.
trying to emulate in your personal life. Whether even if your reach is not as big, you're not like a rapper or whatever. Like, do that on your
Yeah.
own, at your own level.
Yeah. You still have a personal. I mean, we talk about brands with companies a lot of times, but I mean, you have a personal brand of like who you
Yeah.
are, and that's important. Like, you being consistent. I mean, up to this point, we haven't been consistent, so that's our brand so far. Is that we don't consistently put out a podcast, but we're working on that.
Yeah.
I mean, well, let me start saying we're working on it. We are
Yeah,
doing
we're
that.
consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, and that's your brand, even if you don't want it to be. That's, I mean, that maybe it's stumbled into a topic, but like what you are, even if you don't mean it to be a brand, it's ultimately a brand.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Because I know I'm trying to think of a major company that's done that, but there's definitely some companies that have kind of stumbled unintentionally into some sort of branding, and they just was like, okay, that's us. We'll stick with it. We'll hold that.
Yeah,
And then of course I'm sure there's others where they were trying to put forward one image, but their actions were creating a different image. And now that conundrum is just something they just kind of have to deal with, because I mean, you can get to that situation where you're basically shunned by a certain group of people just because of your actions, and no matter what you do to change your brand, it doesn't matter because they know you.
yeah,
Like, nah, we know what you did.
yeah. Well, anything to abruptly change gears, I guess. Anything new in branding?
I don't know.
Mm. No, me neither. I mean, I would say one thing I'm working on recently is making sure I'm using. I mean, same with being consistent. I mean, make sure you're using tools that help you can be consistent. Because I got a project recently, and instead of, I think as a designer, or somebody that knows how to do everything, it's easy to get into a place where you feel like, why would I ask somebody else to
Hmm.
help? And that stunts your growth as a company, or just what the work you can do, because you aren't willing to hand over any of that. And so I have a project right now, and I'm like, instead of me trying to do this whole thing, even though I could, like, why don't I try getting somebody else to do it?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? What does that look like? How does that take some pressure off of me, and I can focus on the fun part? Like, I want to design the website. I don't want to build the
Hmm.
website. I know how, but I don't want to. I mean, I could design like 6 websites in a day. Could I build 6 websites in a day? No. But if I could design 6 websites in a day and pass that off to somebody else to put together for me, then I'm building a much better company than if I have to physically sit there and build all of
Yeah.
them. So that's something I'm trying to. I reached out to somebody already. It's like, hey, I'm going to get a quote from him. Like, here, how much would it cost you to just do this little bit for me? I'll like outsource that work, that little bit that I just don't
Hmm.
want to do. That doesn't, isn't the best use of my time. Even though I'll take a little bit of a hit on my profit from it, it gives me back some time that's valuable that I could be using to do something
Well, that's that
else.
whole concept of a lot of a little or a little of a lot. Because I could take 6 weeks and learn how to do whatever thing I don't know how to do, so I can do all the work myself, or I can close the project out quickly, make sure the customer's satisfied, and get another one and another one.
You special. Um,
Because I've tried. I was thinking about, so last week or the week before, last week, I had two different people hit me up about getting web apps done. Well, not web apps, apps like mobile apps, and I've been looking into it. I want to learn it, but I haven't had time. And so, in the end, I did the same thing, kind of the same thing you were talking about. I hit my friend up. I was like, "Hey, you know how to do this?" He was like, "Yep." So I was like, "Let me link you. Like I can be on the phone calls to make the introductions or whatever, but I don't know enough to talk intelligently about it.
yeah.
So let me just fall back and let somebody else do it. And if I get something out of it, cool. But if I don't, even if even if I don't, then I'm still building that brand of the guy that knows the guy.
Yeah, and that's not a loss. I mean, I think it's easy to fall in a place where, or if that happens at a company where you feel like you're gonna, basically like you're like, all right, you're losing your job because you're out, like somebody else has to
Hmm.
do this for you, and that's a fear that, I mean, yeah, sure, it could happen. I mean, anybody could lose their job any day, but you have to realize that, I mean, kind of going back to your personal brand, is like people like you. So if you can show that you can handle this and own this project, they don't really care if you actually do it, as long as you're on top of it. you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's more that's more the managerial mindset, which
Yeah.
is important. Like I don't know how to do everything, and I think it's good. It's all about like knowledge itself. Like if I know what I'm good at, then I can focus my talents and skills there and make sure that part is perfect. And then the other parts I don't know how to do, I just make sure I know enough to talk intelligently and to find the person who can do it right, and not just you know somebody who's gonna BS their way into the job and do a terrible job.
Yeah.
Because I could try and do it myself, and I'm smart. I know how to learn stuff, but I don't feel I personally don't feel comfortable learning something and charging someone a whole lot of money like for me learning while I'm learning.
Yeah.
Unless I'm upfront with them, like, look, I don't know how to do this. I'll figure it out, but I don't know how to do this. So I actually had someone contact me about building a site in Wix. I've used Wix like years ago, And like Wix, I feel like is an exception to the rule because it's just a site builder. How hard can it be? It's not like I gotta like learn a new programming language
Yeah.
or something. So there are some things where I don't know and I'm willing to figure it out, and I'm willing to charge you while I'm figuring it out. But if you're like, hey, I need you to build a website in Java, I don't know anything,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna charge you. I don't feel comfortable. I can connect you with somebody who knows, but it's not me.
Yeah. And I mean, then you still get to own you're still the face of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from a management perspective, I don't mind like connecting the dots because there are people who simply connect dots, and
Yeah.
there's a place for that person
There,
in design and in business and
there's
like in the
companies
world.
that
There's a place for that
strictly do
person who
that.
knows people. Yeah,
We're working with one now, and it's
I didn't
annoying,
always know that.
but
Yeah, I didn't realize that until more recently, and then I was like, wait a minute, y'all didn't do
yeah.
anything, and you got paid to just send me a link to like here's the
Like,
person
did
you
you
need to
just make an
contact.
Excel sheet? That's all y'all did? That's what I've
Nah,
been
but
feeling
it
like
is
recently with
valuable.
somebody. I'm like, it's like, what? Y'all made an Excel sheet? Y'all aren't the one making this. So, yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. I mean, and I think, if you do know how to do it, you're in a good position because you have the ability and you can be you can
Yeah.
talk intelligently to the work that needs to be done. So you're a little bit better than, just just being the middle
So
guy.
I completely understand what you're saying because I used to work with a couple managers who like so I was doing technical work like building websites, things of that nature. No need to get into specifics, but my managers they had like an MBA or they had some managerial experience, but they didn't know the technical side of what I was
Oh,
doing.
yeah.
So if I wanted to BS them and say, "Oh, it's going to take 45 days to change the background color on this website," their pushback would be like, "Seriously? Why would it take that long?" And they wouldn't know. They don't. They would have to go find a person that knows and ask them to find out that I was lying
Yeah.
or whatever. So, um, working with those type of people, it can become weird because
Start that.
um, those type of people like they're going to report up to somebody else, so they're like a middle management person. They're going to report to somebody else about your progress on whatever project. When they report up, all they can do is repeat what you
Yeah.
told them. They might be able to add their little managerial stuff in there, but they can't if their manager asks them something like, so why does it take that long? They don't have an answer unless it's an answer you gave
Yeah.
them. And that's where the value comes in of a technical manager or someone who at least knows something about the process and can provide some insight.
Yeah. That's
Because then it's not like then it's not just a middleman that's going back and forth. Oh, well, management said this. What? Please tell me why it's going to take so long. Oh, it takes so long because I don't know CSS that well, and I have to write background color equals whatever. And then you tell them that, and then they just repeat what you said to the management, and the management's like, well, okay, that shouldn't take that long. That should only take 5 minutes. They come back to you, hey, management said that should only take 5 minutes. What's the deal? And then at that point, it's like, all right, middleman, can I go just talk to the manager? I'll explain this to them because you're just
Yeah,
in the
and the
way.
person doing the work is like, wait, what it like you feel like you're getting secondhand information from the middle person.
From management. Yep.
Like, wait, can I just go talk to the person because I don't even know what I mean, and I witnessed that happen, recently where it's like that actually literally happened. It was like it was actually some resentment, I think, because it was like, the question became, it's like, why do you exist?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you got to know something. If you know something, then it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Or I think as a manager, if you don't know the technical details, you have to know the right questions to
Yeah.
ask. So when I say, "Hey, can you change the background?" Yeah. How long is it gonna take? 5 minutes. Okay. Is there any risk to the project because of this? Is this gonna cause any downtime? Like, I need to ask those type of questions because I know what management is gonna ask me, and then when I ask those questions, I can provide the right
Yeah.
answers. Um, but if I don't know anything and I don't know the right questions to ask, then it really does become a question of why are you
You ever
here?
watch that show Office Space? I mean, not Office Space, sorry. IT Crowd.
No.
Okay, you should watch that. But that's an example
Okay.
of it. The lady is hired to manage IT, and she doesn't like know anything about IT. And the
Mm-hmm.
IT like convinces her that the internet is in a box, and she goes up and like presents that in a meeting that the internet was in that box. It's a funny show, but yeah, it's basically that because she didn't know anything about it, but
Mm-hmm.
she ended up in her, you know. So I mean, I would say if you're somebody that's a manager and you're trying to manage something else, try to know something about it. 'Cause especially nowadays, anybody can Google anything. There's no excuse why you don't know something about it, even if you're
Yeah,
not a
yeah, it's not
professional at
hard.
it. Like gets or if you were somebody that's moving up into the management position, I would say don't like actively don't forget everything you learn. Like 'cause sometimes I joke about the facts. Like one day I want to not know how to make a website.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's kind of joking. I mean, if I go into a completely different thing and I don't have to, that's one thing. But that's really not like, especially if you're management, that's not a good idea because, because then people are going to take advantage of the fact that you don't know anything and question your worth. Especially nowadays, because I think nowadays there's a lot of entrepreneurs that know how to do the thing. They just were smart, so they hired other people to do the thing. And that kind
Mm-hmm.
of like BSing upper management isn't going to work because they're like, no, that doesn't take that long. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think that's one of my fears has been moving up and not knowing how to do the actual work as well.
yeah,
So I always try and stay on top of stuff. But I've definitely I would say if you're moving up, stay aware and stay in touch with the people you manage. Like spend more time talking to them so that when they talk to you, like you can at least pick up some of the terminology and kind of understand what's going on at a high level.
yeah,
Because a lot of times, a lot of technical people that I work with that do the weird technical stuff that I don't know anything about like database management and
yeah,
other stuff. They're willing to at least give you a high level. They may not be willing to teach you, but they'll be willing to tell you some stuff like, oh yeah, so this thing is this,
yeah,
like high level information. And you can write down some key terms and Google them if you need to know. But for at least in my experience, I've never been in a situation where I need to know all the details. As a manager, I never needed to know all the details. I just needed enough high level to say, to talk intelligently, to provide timelines and that type of stuff, so that people are not make people feel comfortable. Like, nah, David's got it under control. The developer that's doing the work has a plan moving forward. They know what they're going to try. They'll report back tomorrow, whatever that type of stuff.
yeah, yeah. That's our advice for up and coming managers.
Yeah, from two non-managers.
I know. I mean, well, okay, and so that's the thing. Like, I've been in positions where it's like, you know, I feel like you're working with somebody that's gunning for that manager position, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I mean, and you probably know they're not, the type that they're just over eager, try to get in all on top
Yeah.
of it, be the first person to respond to emails on the weekends at 3 a.m.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's
Trying too hard.
yeah, yeah. I read a book about somebody that worked with somebody like that recently. Um, uh, and it's one of those things where it's like I can tell they're gunning for that. I don't think they should be the manager, but I don't want it either.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that either. I don't want to be. I don't think I want that, especially not in that kind of capacity or whatever. Because I don't want to be the person running back and forth. I like doing some of the work. I can
Mm-hmm.
manage projects, but I don't know if I want to manage a whole department like that. I mean, unless is specifically like a graphics department, but not like a marketing
Mm-hmm.
department. I don't think I would want to do that.
Yeah. So I work with someone currently who's try too hard.
Mm.
Um, they pushed for management, and now they're in some level of management. But just I don't know. So the more advice for managers: just because you're in management doesn't mean you have to spend all your time trying to find something to manage. So the person I work with, they got to be like in a deputy management position, which is cool. But then they're always like hovering around trying to look for meetings to have, wanting to discuss things. It's like just like
Yeah, like
you're deputy, you can go do some work. It's all right.
yeah, yeah. No, I don't.
But like don't come over here hovering over me like, hey, is Vix yet? Did you figure it out? Like Leave me alone.
You ever feel like kind of left out of meetings, but you don't really want to go to the meeting either?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would just like
I've
to.
seen a lot of yeah.
I would just like to be to be nominated. Honestly, I don't want to go. I just want you to ask.
I want you to ask me so I can tell you no.
Yeah.
Well, that's so. If we're just complaining about meetings, I don't necessarily care to go to very, very many meetings, but I feel like if you're in management, and you're deciding who goes to meetings, you got to make sure you're bringing the right people to the meeting.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely been called into meetings like 30 minutes late about something, and they've had a whole meeting about some topic. Then they call me in, the person who actually knows, and then I ask one question. I'm like, no, that's not the case. Here's the real deal. And I'll answer that question, basically ending the meeting and proving the rest of the meeting wholly irrelevant. And it's like, you could have just asked me. Like, have an email.
Yeah. I'm more so about I'll just pop into your office if I got questions.
Well, then I don't schedule meetings or anything.
Let's not go.
I think
sit
that
down and talk.
if you
for
do
like,
have an official meeting, it's important from a management perspective to bring in the people who have the information you need.
Yeah.
And as few managerial people as possible, because when you bring managerial people, I think some people will try and sugarcoat things and just misrepresent what's actually going on. So I'd rather meet with the knowledge people, the people that can give me the answers I need, and then I'll convey that to management separately. But we don't need both parties in the same meeting at all the time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it just becomes more complicated.
Yeah, I mean, I work with like a scrum master now, and they do a good job of like organizing. That helps, like having somebody just like, all right, basically to not. I mean, they do more than organize the meetings, but basically like, all right, you're here. That's not important. Move this over here. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you like? So that's part of the whole agile process. Do you like the agile process for managing projects?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, we just started a sprint this week, but yeah, no, I mean, I like it. I think it works. I mean, I see the purpose, and like, there's some parts I'm still learning, but I think it's better than just haphazard plans, I guess.
Yeah. So I've been doing variations of agile. Some of it real, some of it fake, for like at least the last 4 or 5 years, and I'd see the benefit if it's done right. But a lot of people, at least in my experience, a lot of people do what they think is agile, but they don't actually know, and so they're technically just doing a 2-week waterfall. And I don't know, it's just one of those buzzwords that people like to say, oh, we're having Scrum, and
yeah,
but we're not really doing agile. So
no, I first heard Scrum like a long time ago when I first got into like first desk job. I heard like, oh, we stand up and have Scrum, but it was like, we just stood up and talked. It wasn't like
yeah.
It just meant
you gotta have a Scrum master that knows what they're doing, because yeah.
No, we didn't have a Scrum master either. It was just we stood up and talked. That was the
when you have a Scrum master that knows what they're doing, then it can actually work. Well, it's a whole lot of moving pieces to make it actually work, but yeah, that's a whole topic for a whole nother episode. Just the whole Scrum sprint planning process and all that type of stuff.
Tune in next week for our
I don't think it's not that interesting
topic on Scrum masters and burn downs.
Burn down charts.
Yeah. And why this is exciting.
So one last question about Scrum and process. Do you have a hard time when you're working in that environment, like breaking down your tasks so that they can put them into burn down charts and things like that?
Mostly a hard time remembering to write in all the stuff I'm supposed to write in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I tend to be brief, so it's like where's the description? It's like, well, fine.
Yeah, I had to get used to it, and then some things I do. It's like by the time I wrote, like, so where I work now, they want me to break down things into tasks and write tickets for each task so that they can track my progress through things. So like if I'm, building a web page to display a grid of data, I'm just gonna put one ticket that outlines that's that whole thing. Build page, show data. One ticket.
Yeah.
And then I'll take a few hours, I'll do it, and it's done. but they would prefer that I build page, design grid, define columns, or like break down ticket more. And I'm like,
Yeah.
really? By the time I write all those tickets, it'll look great for you from the management perspective to say David knocked out like 14 tickets today. But yeah, I could have been mostly done in the time it took me to write those tickets. So a lot of times, my scrum master's asking me, please just tell me what you're doing and I'll make tickets. Because
Well, we're getting like a coordinator or whatever on our team, so hopefully that's going to be part of like, can you just write this stuff?
yeah, just
Because
write it
I
down.
don't just.
I'll tell you
I
when
don't
I'm
know,
done.
man. Yeah, I mean, because especially for design work, it's like design logo. I mean, what do you want me to say?
No, I mean, I could see how you could break that down a little bit,
Yeah, I
but
mean, well, yeah. No, it's that. I mean, I did. It was like established brand goal, blah blah. A bunch of words for brainstorming, and I mean, some of it was relevant, but it sometimes I don't know. Maybe that's just me being very brief, but
I think that's again, you got to think about. This is something someone else has to figure this out, but I think it's one of those things where am I making these tickets for me to track my task, or I'm making these tickets for management to track my task? Because if management wants to see what I'm doing, they're gonna want more detail, or at
like, oh,
least
I'll tell you everything.
more words and stuff in there that sound good for reporting
Make
purposes.
logo, drink water,
But for me, it's just gonna be like make a logo.
stay hydrated in between making logo.
Yeah.
Check, done. Uh, Yeah, no, I mean it's a learning process. I mean, I know even for me, even for my own, it would help me out if I explained myself a little bit more, especially if I got more tasks at one time. Because sometimes I look at it like, wait, what was I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
So no, I mean, I think it's a good process. I mean, and it does, they were making an example of just explaining it to somebody, like, how people have different points on different teams, how many points you're taking on and all that kind of stuff. And like they had wrote down, because I had like 16 or something like that in this example. It's like, well, now they erased it and they put like a 2 there. Now, like if he had 2, then that would be a problem. And then they left it on the board and I was like, can you change that? I know you're making an example, but don't have my name up there and just 2 points next to it. And somebody's like, hey, look. It's like, wait, whoa. That was an example. What are you talking about? So I don't know.
We'll have to talk about this more in a future episode because it's a very, I don't know. I think everyone does it different, and it's very interesting to see how it's managed vastly differently. Even though there's kind of a standard way you're supposed to do it, it's very interesting to see how effective or ineffective it can be.
Yeah.
With people rushing in trying to change priorities at the last minute and stuff like that.
Yeah. We'll make that a Patreon episode. Just kidding. Seriously, just kidding.
That's another topic. There's a couple people I've seen that have Patreons, and I'm like, what are you offering me? Like, really?
Yeah.
I'm not paying for that.
It's like if I pay for it, or I can just wait a couple of weeks when you actually just put it up or something. Or
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I understand why. I completely understand why you want to get paid as a creator, which makes sense. But sometimes you got to offer a better incentive. Because it's like Instagram models have Patreon now too, so it's like, oh.
Well, you know what they're doing.
Well, yeah. That's completely different and easier.
You
to
may
sell.
actually get something out of that.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, sometimes it's like a weird thing. It's like, all right, you out here asking me to pay for Patreon for more episodes, and Joe Budden's out here giving me like 6 episodes a week. Like, what do what?
Yeah. Well, for our media discussion, yeah, there's sometimes when I'm like, all right, I think I've heard enough of Joe this week, because it's like,
oh, yeah, because he's got episodes and shows and
well, not Everyday Struggle, but State of the Culture, 2 podcast episodes, and then he has pull-ups every once in a while. A lot of times it's with,
and he does live some days.
oh, I don't follow him.
Yeah, well, like on YouTube or something like that. One time I saw it and was like, what? Yeah,
and then
it is a lot.
The cartoon that comes out every once in a while. I mean, it's good content most of the time. I'm not going to say any of the content's bad, and I do enjoy the content when I listen to it or watch it or whatever. So this is no shots or nothing like that. But it is like flooding the marketplace, so it's kind of hard not to hear what he thinks about everything.
Yeah, I mean, because I guess my problem is more so not like that I have a problem with it. It's just that like a lot of times when you put something out, I'm interested in it, and it's like, okay, well, I don't have time to get to anything else.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's
So,
true. Because you sent me a link to a podcast I needed to listen to about intellectual property like a month ago. Still haven't heard it.
oh yeah, yeah, because that was a friend zone because they put out like 3 hour episodes too, and it's like I can't, where am I going to fit that in
Oh,
into my podcast schedule?
so well, so let's see. Yeah, Monday I'm usually listening to Joe Budden. Tuesday I might still be listening to Joe Budden, because my
By the
ride
time the next one comes out, you may still be on it.
my ride is only like maybe 15-20 minutes to work, 15-20 minutes home, and like if a new CD or album, or not a new CD but a new album comes out I want to listen to, that's my ride to work. When I'm at work, if I have meetings and stuff or people just keep talking to me, I might not listen to anything. Then I listen to audio. Like, so if I got some audio book I'm listening to right now that I recently got, and so that'll keep me listening to something all day, so that can really put me behind. uh
Yeah,
and then sometimes I listen to like Bodega Boys, so that's
yeah.
at least an hour. And then yeah, so I just need to figure out my schedule. The other thing, I saw a new season of Badlands came out on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I watched that.
I'm on like the second or third episode.
It it got canceled,
Oh,
so
midway through the season, or
I mean, I don't know if it's midway, but like that last episode, they like wrapped everything up,
just like
like
everybody
oh,
dies.
found this and found the baby, cured the baby, did this, blah blah blah, blah and done.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, wait, what? Like, what's going on here? In the whole season, y'all been like dragging your feet, and then
It's
suddenly
like
one
wrap it
episode, y'all
up.
solved everything, and that's it. Got it. Everybody's along. Good, awesome. All right, bye.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's maybe I shouldn't have asked about that, but okay. So
Well, no, I wasn't. I mean, I was just making stuff up, but
yeah, yeah, but yeah.
but they did. It was decent, and then they wrapped it. The last episode, they wrap everything up nice, and well, not everything, but it's like you sit there like, wait, what? Why y'all are doing a lot?
Yeah.
You about to get killed by him? There's a lot going
Yeah,
on.
in the first couple episodes I saw, I was like, they kept bringing, like, everybody came back from the first season except for the black girl that got killed, and it's like, all right, like everything went back to the way it was, kind of very quickly. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I still haven't
I think
finished
they.
Punisher. I need to finish that.
I need to finish that. Yeah, I did not. I did not finish that. I got distracted watching. What was I watching? I was watching something and I got distracted. What was I watching? Yeah, I can't remember. I started watching something
Did you
though.
watch the new Kevin Hart stand up? Well, let me ask you: have you ever
No.
watched the Kevin Hart stand up?
Once, unfortunately. Well, I was watching it. I think I fell asleep.
I watched.
I was. I mean, I did. I mean, I don't know. I can't. No, I can't do it.
I watched.
I just don't. It's not funny to me like that.
So the last stand up I watched was Tom Segura.
Who's that?
He's got at least two on Netflix. Tom Segura. He's really funny to me, at least. Um. So yeah, that's the type of comedy I like funny comics. I watched.
You like that's a comedy. You're like, oh, funny
I like
comedy.
comedy
Oh,
that's
I got
actually
you.
funny. So
Yeah.
I watched part of, so like 2 summers ago, I downloaded one of Kevin Hart's stand-ups, so whatever one was on Netflix at the time. Uh, he was talking about like foxes in his driveway or something. Just wasn't funny. Like, I'm used to laughing,
Yeah.
and it was just like he's just telling stories and jumping around, like not really jumping around, but he's just like moving around telling stories. Nothing he's saying was funny, and maybe it was because I wasn't watching. I was just like, so I'll download stuff on Netflix on my phone, like comedy, and then I'll watch it. I'll play it in my car while I'm driving because I don't have to see you. I can just listen. He
Yeah.
wasn't funny. Like, I did not laugh
Yeah.
at any point in time. Maybe like a haha, but no actual laughing. So I was like, nope, not gonna waste my time with the next one. Um, so this new one, I heard it came out. I saw it. Netflix was trying to tell me about it. Never watched it. So I have plenty of other things I can watch before that because I still haven't like
Watch
watched
that.
Bird Box or whatever that was.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that was a moment. Yeah, you be right. Watch what's it? Love, Sex, and Robots.
Hmm.
You seen the commercials for
I
that?
think so. It sounds familiar.
Watch
Okay.
that. Watch that. It's cool. It's not like a. It's not like a. It's a bunch of episodes, but none of there. It's like each episode is made by somebody else. It's not like connected characters or anything like that.
It's like the
It's
black
like little,
box,
like
Black
short
Mirror type of
stories kind of
situation.
things. No, it's like short stories that are like all animated in different
Hmm.
styles and stuff like that and tell different stories. I don't know who they're made by. I didn't do any research on it, but yeah, it's like each one's a different story. They're not connected at all, but they're good though.
All right, I'll have to check that out.
And the animation looks cool, and I don't know. Some are better than others, of course, or whatever, but it's
Hmm.
kind of cool.
I will add that to the
But
list right before Kevin Hart.
yeah, just never got to it.
Well,
Let's go watch Superstore.
I mean the thing, I'm not trying to hate on him, but it's not my type of comedy, and I feel like he plays the same character in movies all the time too, so I don't need to watch his movies either. I'm not like
I
rushing
mean,
to
other
watch them.
people do that too, but sometimes I like the characters that they play, so I'm okay with it. But
I'm not like rushing
um,
to watch him is what I'd say.
yeah,
Like
it's just
he's
not for me.
entertaining in
I'm
movies a
just
little
saying,
bit, but
it's
yeah,
just
it's
not
not
for
for me.
me.
If I have options, if it's more like it's like sometimes you'll watch a rom com just because it's like well everything else then I'm waiting on something else to come out, so I'll watch this. Okay, maybe you don't, but
No, no, I haven't done that.
no, I can't. It's been a long time since I've done that. But I'll watch like if my wife wants to watch something like that, I'll watch it. But uh, yeah, it's like one of those things where I'd watch it just because, but not if I have any other options.
Yeah,
Anyway, so that's the end of our hating segment. Uh, that's the end of
yeah,
this episode. Thanks for tuning in.
yeah.
In our next episode, we'll probably talk about all of the 51 episodes we've done before now, and the ones you should go back and listen to. Maybe some of the ones you should skip because they were weak. uh,
Yeah, we like to get our week episodes.
yeah.
We're gonna take ourselves
No,
down.
no. What we can
We're gonna
do,
be back down to
we
like
could set up
40.
a no, we could set up a Patreon. So if you want to hear some of our weak episodes, sign up for our Patreon, and you can catch some of those on there. Uh,
Oh,
that's
sounds
like a new
good.
business model. I'm gonna have to talk to somebody about that. Like, because normally the Patreon's for like the good stuff or the better stuff, but like, no, we're gonna have a
Yeah,
Patreon for the whack stuff. Just so you like, if you want stuff to laugh at, check out our Patreon because there's some trash in there.
yeah. You know, hear us talk about. I don't. I'm trying to think of some of the terrible episodes we had, but
We'll
I
talk
don't know.
about that in
Whatever
an
the case.
episode, next episode.
The point is, we made it this far. We made it to 51 consistently, which is kind of weird when I think about it. It's like, dang, we recorded that much. But yeah,
Well,
nigga, we made it.
thanks for tuning in. If you like what you heard, remember to like us on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram at Alienmuffin. Follow us on Twitter at Alienmuffin. Even though we don't tweet that often, follow us on Facebook at Alienmuffin. Check us out on SoundCloud at IC Pixels. Check out our store where we sell stuff, including T-shirts and tank
Yeah,
tops and mugs.
and check out our private Snapchat
No, we
where
don't
you
have a
can.
private Snapchat.
Oh,
But
oh,
for a
okay,
small
my
monthly
bad.
fee, you can check us out on OnlyFans. Or okay, seriously, don't go look for any of those. We don't have those, but we do have a threadless shop where you can buy clothes and stuff like that. Check that out. Please tune in again next time. We out.